Lights on. I'm on. Oh, all right. Okay. So I saw some people and heard them speaking about my sign here. And they seem to understand that there are monkeys loose in this country. Over on the East Coast, they all escaped. These rhesus monkeys escaped. They escaped. So I was really concerned that they don't come to Montana. We had a trap for them. Well, then I thought, well, really, that doesn't make sense. I need to be real honest. It's a trap for Roger Harvey. And so I bought a little roll of Oreo cookies. I ate them. Then I thought about the banana, but because I'd already gotten the cookies, but I already eaten the banana. So all I had was an orange in the trap. I don't know if monkeys like oranges or not, but you guys know how this works. You know, you reach in here to grab it. As long as you, what? Hold on, you're stuck. Hey, unless if you have really little hands like me. So, letting go, being willing to let go. I want you to know, you didn't want to do this early. I want you to know that's been one of the most difficult talks I've ever had. Most of you know I've been in a lot of pain for the last 9 months. It's getting better, better, better. I'm so happy. And then this week, I can't use my hands, I can't grab things. My big toe hurts. And I'm thinking, what more do I need? Like saying prayers, denials, I'm doing affirmations, and I am still struggling with this. And I think, okay, what's the purpose of all this letting go business? You know, and sometimes it's really easy. If you're constipated, if you're full of, there's no doubt that you need to let go of something. And sometimes you need help to do that. You need to pick a laxative. There are other things that you can do the doctor can help you with. But the whole idea is once you've done it, you feel so much better. So letting go has some real dramatic consequences on things. One of the dangers of talking about this emotional and spiritual terms is something that we call, help me, Linda, where you tell people something they shouldn't tell them, shame them for where they're at. So, yes, metaphysical malpractice. So that is not my intent today. Talking about myself in this, and if you could find any wisdom in it, please, you did not forget it. So we go about this process of letting go of things. For the first 37 years of my life, I was a very, very, very angry man. And it cost me a lot. It cost me marriage, it cost me being estranged from my daughters for over 20 years. And then I had to spend 7 years going to 12-step meetings, seeing psychologists and psychologists and blah, 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 on and on and on, going to workshops and releasing things. And I can honestly say that I'm not as angry as I used to be. I'm still capable of it, but I'm not as angry as I am. One of the things that's really true for people here at Unity, and I want you to remember this, our founders, both of them, had physical problems. Myrtle had tuberculosis. It took her 2 years of praying, meditating, and loving her body for that. Charles had an injury on his hip very young, and he had a short leg, so he left. And over his life, it was never full. But he God works not let. So we're talking about a process of letting go and identifying those things that are in your way. And that's hard. That's really hard. Waking up this morning and going, God, not knowing if I can get my shirt right. So the first thing I did was I went upstairs, like they're ready. I was able to do it by myself, but I think I was only able to do it by myself because I knew I had help. I could go on and on with examples of that for years, myself and for you. But one of the things that I learned in this process of going to all these places to learn about behaviors and things, and I knew I forgot my cue cards. Yeah, I really do need help. At the Landmark Forum group that has been in existence in one form or another for years and years and years, they have come up to with the conclusion that we all suffer from three basic problems. And they come into our lives. I am not enough. Don't belong here. And I'm on my own. Those sound pretty interesting. The truth is, I believe they're true. I believe they're true for all on earth. Some reason they've put in our lives to help us not like that. Or how many times have you said to yourself, I would do that? And for me, after all this prayer and meditation I've been doing for 9 months, I'm not enough, obviously, to solve this problem. Lie. I am. Don't want. You know how some of you probably don't know this, but I attended this church for almost 15 years before I joined. I actually started talking in church. I actually was a member. I've been here for over 30 years, and I've been trying to disprove the principles or tenets. I prefer to use the word tenets. I'm going to use the word tenets. The tenets of this church, because they are so powerful and they're so much the truth. And that when we engage with them, we can change our lives. Some of the fifth one, you say it, and I bet you guys don't know what it is. I bet there's very few people that can actually tell me what the fifth tenet is. It says, say it again. Truth. All that stuff. I do my best by living the truth I know, not the truth that Evie does, David does, my wife does, anybody on the side of the room does. Doesn't matter. I do the best by living the truth I know. And that is a process. It's a process of growth and understanding. At the end of the church service today, we're going to do the prayer for protection. I'm going to challenge you right now to change the word from we to the word I and claim your power, claim your presence, claim those things that we say are in you. We're just going to do this once. It's going to indulge me. I'll remind you again. But it's a part of the evolution. We are growing in this process.
Charles Fillmore must have been inspired by me because he wrote most of this stuff 100 years ago. And it is so appropriate today in this life. So I'm just going to read a couple things out of here. We do not do this release by process of letting go and taking hold. Letting go of the old or that which has done its part and is no longer useful. Or that which has done, or taking hold of new ideas and inspiration that comes from the super consciousness of God. Those things that no longer serve us. When I was between my 6th grade year and my 7th grade year, a bunch of boys were out playing baseball. 3 flies up, you catch the ball, you throw it in. As soon as you get 500 points, you go up and bat, And there were 2 boys in North Dakota, and I'll mention their names. I hope they're not around. Lance and Rance, they were paternal. They are paternal brothers. They never looked alike. They were twins. Didn't look at all. One was dark, one was light, but really. But they decided that little boy should have their pants. And they did it. And then they came to me. And that was because all that anger I had inside of me came out, and I hit and kicked and screamed and yelled and finally. It served me well. It protected me. I was in 18 different schools before I graduated from high school. I lived in 5 different states. I moved all the time. It protected me from being. It was one of the causes my children didn't want to have anything to do with me. But I've let that go to the extent that I've been married longer. My children. 2 of them were taken directly to me, and the other one updates. I'm going to do that until I don't have to pay notice. But it's not going to be one day, it's not going to be the next week, but I am. Helpful. We must let go and give up to make room for things we have prayed for and desired. This is called renunciation or elimination. Sacrifice, it may even seem to some people. It is simply the giving up and casting away of old thoughts that have put us where we are and putting in their place new ideas that promise to improve our condition. It's a process for letting go of things that aren't serving us. And that is really hard. And it's really important that we don't blame and shame people where they're at in their process, whether it's me or anybody else. We do need to let go of them. It's really important. There are none of us has attained the supreme place in consciousness where he wholly gives up the material man and lives in spirit, as Jesus did. But we have the concept of such a life and his example that shows us that this can be attained. We must attain it and escape the mortal. This does not mean that we have to die to get free from mortality. Mortality is but a state of conscience. Die daily, and we are reborn in the process of eliminating the thoughts that we are material, and replace it with the truth that we are spiritual. Truth that we are spiritual. To know the truth of that. To know that you are not this skin and bone thing setting before you, as I think Marsh called it, or terror. Somebody, not this thing. The truth is that we are spiritual beings having experience. That's the truth. And then we can live it fully with it. And it is possible. I fully believe in my lifetime that we will have Christ and we will know who they are. That's a mistake. But we will know they're there. And then it will give us the impetus and the knowing that we too can achieve these things. How many people have read some of the parties? Masters of the Parties. How many have ever read that book? That's just a bunch of books that talk about masters who are living on earth. So that the possibility for us all. Here's the last thing I'm going to read to you by Charles. God is the great creative principle of the universe and will always meet us more than halfway. Becoming receptive to the grace of God, we receive the measure of God's provision, which exceeds any of our imaginings, exceeds any of our imaginings. Grace is the greatest word in the Bible, greatest thought I can share, because it is one of those great truths. You cannot earn it, you cannot buy it, you can't save it, you can't find it on the ground. You breathe and let out, and that is the grace of God, because the next breath is right there. And you did not have to ask for it or pay for it. You didn't have to go up to the breathing machine and put in a quarter. I got my day's worth of breathing today. It's grace. Grace. And what did he say? You have to become receptive to it. The word that I'm in the last week, maybe week and a half, I've realized that I don't trust that I'm not enough. I still believe that a little bit. I'm still there. But I can allow the love of God to come into my life in that moment. Being receptive, allowing the grace of God to enter into our lives. It's hugely important. And I think enough of us who have spoken have used this divine audacity for you guys to realize it's a pretty good book. So this is what Miss Whitsett has to say about this work. We work on our own salvation by changing our minds. We convert, we awaken to the sacredness by studying, meditating on, and adopting living principles as taught by Jesus and other masters the world over. Our salvation, conversion, or sanctification is preceded by the release of beliefs and ways of being that no longer make sense to us in the light of our growing understanding. We repent. Just like we've added those lines in the prayer for protection, that is growth. That's an evolutionary process where we're claiming more of our own power. And what I'm going to ask you to do is make that even a bigger step when I ask you to say I instead of we. It's a part of the process. We can grow. We can understand something that we may not have had before. Spirituality, renunciation takes place when we cultivate an open mind and an open heart. Give up every thought, belief that we have clung to, becoming teachable through the active spiritual understanding. Standing in the river when you're a fisherman, if you have the courage to step out into the water at high water levels, you really are careful because you will be swept away. I have more than once been laying on my butt in the river, taking me downstream, and I know at one place under about 35 feet, 35, 40 yards down the stream from me was a sweeper. A sweeper is a tree with the roots all, the limbs all stuck down like this. You don't swim through it. You go under it, you don't come out on the other side. So I'm standing there with a $600 fly rod. I'm going, I am not letting go of this thing, but I do have to get out of where I'm at. And I threw myself over and I threw myself over until I was finally sitting in water that wasn't going in and filling up my waders. And I stood up, looked around, got where I thought where there might be a fish, cast the fly up there. Sure enough, I hooked a nice, beautiful little brown rainbow trout, released him. And then I thought, you know, I'm pretty cold. I'm pretty scared. I'm pretty much going to leave. I went to the guys that I came with and I said, I'm going to the car. I had to do something. I had to let go of something. And that was, you know, that safety of going on. The song was so beautifully sung this morning. We are in a process and we can flow with it or we can not flow with it. Here's the last thing I want to read from Miss Whitsett. Sorry, Jeff. Sin, contrary to centuries of thought, is not and cannot offend against God, or a deliberate turning away from God, causing an estrangement from God. Nothing can separate us from God. Only in our mind can we feel separate. When we feel separate, we can cleanse our mind and find refuge in the power of release. We cannot be separated from God. That's really hard for me to believe because I've told you all about all that yo-yo stuff I used to do. I used to believe God was playing yo-yo with me. Down I go, ha ha ha, and he'd laugh at me. They won't come back. You're okay. No, you're not. Until I realized that it was me doing the yo-yo stuff. God wasn't going anyplace. So if I can leave you with three things: practice, persistence, patience. Thank you. It's so good to know people know more than I do. Practice. You've got spiritual practice. This is one of them. Coming here, listening to people like me yammer and yammer, yammer. It's talking about being who we are and growing in the truth of who we are in our spiritual being. It's practice. You've got to practice. I don't care. I used to tell little kids when I was teaching special ed kids, how can you do this, Frank? He said, I can't do it. I said, well, yes, you can, Frank. You can get to class on time. I can get to class on time. There's too many people in the classroom. There are too many places to go. So Frank and I went downstairs and we timed the time it take to go to his locker and come to class. And Frank said, I said, you still got a minute, Frank. What you going to do? Oh, I don't know. Well, I said, Frank, you can't be late anymore because you know it doesn't take that. So Frank comes in the next day and he's still late for my class. Now, you got to realize, as a special ed teacher working with developmentally delayed people, you really have to be persistent because it takes a while to learn things. So I said, Frank, come with me. So we went I was going to go into the principal's office, but he wasn't there, but the superintendent was. And I said, Frank, I want you to talk, when you and I are going to go talk to Mr. Osweiler, something like that. And I said, if I came in late tomorrow, what would you do? I said, the superintendent said, Roger, I was asking, are you okay? And I said, yeah, but what if I just didn't want to get here at time. He says, well, don't do it again, Roger. So, but what if I came in the next day and it was late? He said, Roger, I'd write you up. What if I came in the third day and said, I'm just going to be late? He said, I'd fire you. I turned to Frank and I said, Frank, you come in late one more time, I'm firing you. He understood getting fired because the next day he came to class and he was late and I fired him. I sent him to the office. Frank was never left late again for my class. He learned that there was some places, some consequences of what. But I had to be persistent and consistent with him for that to happen. I'm saying that's true for me for sure in this process that I'm going through right now. I need to keep my spiritual practice. I need to keep understanding that it's a process, that with persistence and consistency, I am going to grow. I am going to become a better human being, and I'm going to get to the place where I'm not terrified or free and know that I'm not alone. I'm here with you. I'm worthy of everything, and I can ask for help anytime I need it. So don't get caught in a monkey trap. Let go and know that you are not alone. If you're as lucky as I am to be in a relationship that keeps me honest and holds me when I need to be held, make sure that I'm safe when I'm feeling afraid. Bless you. But know this is a place for all that growth to happen. That's why you're here and you keep coming back. Because the promises of unity are God is all good in everything, everywhere. You and I are naturally good because God's divinity is in us. Through affirmative prayer and meditation, you make conscious contact with the divine and bring the good out. You create your life by what you choose to think, feel, and believe. I shorten it up. You create your life by what you choose. And the last one is the best one. You do your best by living the truth you know. Thank you. So we're going to do a meditation. We're going to do a monkey trap meditation. So what I want you to do is, as we start doing this, I want you to think of one of those things that you're holding on to that you would like to release. I don't care what it is, whether it's big or little. I don't like the way I smile. Put it on there. And at one point in time, I want you to try to get your hand out. I'll kind of cue you, and it's not going to come out. I'm going to give you a little more time to think about it, and then I'm going to say, open your hand and let go. And we'll do that together. So, if you would please, get comfortable. Take a couple deep breaths with me, in and out, and in and out. Now imagine that bottle, that container, and that thing that you want to release is in it. Reach in and grab it. Hold tight. Don't let go. Now pull hard and see if you can get out of that trap. Can't, you can pull really hard, but it's not going to come out, I promise you. Pull hard. No, by the grace of God. And
God. And without a doubt. Like God about longest with knowing that I might grab it back tomorrow, next day. But if you do, that goes. And it may take a while, several times grabbing it while. Time, think, time that's going to grow, 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 until you have no damage to the market. That it was done. That is done. All that one. Love created us. We can surrender to the love that's made us. And we can surrender to the love that. Yeah, have that.
Up there, we'll. Okay, we is I, got it? You have to change those verb too, I think. Let's go together. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light. Love of God enfolds us. I am the love. The power of God protects us. I am the power. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence. Wherever I am, God is, and all is well. I am one. Thank you. So let's stand up and sing our song. I did pretty good. It's just now 12.